morning, everyone. This is Humanity Meets Business, Business Therapy with Christine Salvo. Today, I'm so excited about my guest, Dan from RichLife Habits. Dan's top priority is to be rich in all areas of life. That means to be successful in gaining abilities, experiences, relationships, health, and yes, even money, as he lives life to the fullest. For him, that means there has to be some sort of balance. Life balance can be broken down into 7 categories: professional, business, or career part of life, aka your job; family, those people you love unconditionally, even if they drive you crazy; friends, like-minded people that you choose to spend time with; physical, the body; mental, intellectual and cognitive parts of the brain; spiritual, the soul of a person; financial, the monetary situation. The perfect balance is when each slice of the pie is exactly the same. This is almost impossible to achieve, but can be something everyone can strive for. In reality, some months might look like 1 or 2 slices are much larger than the others, and that happens. If it is like the consecutive months or years, then something is off and reevaluation and correction are probably in order. His favorite quote that he tries to live by is by Maya Angelou. At the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did, but they will remember how you made them feel. And he likes to try to make an impact on the lives of all of those around him. So as you can see, oh, wow, what an awesome introduction there, and what a beautiful life purpose and mission here, Dan. So thanks for joining the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So these 7 categories of life balance, what was your journey into, like, I'm curious about life balance? And it's like sometimes these things come to us and they hit us upside the head in these kind of strange ways. So I have to know, what's the history behind this?
Yeah, so I kind of grew up in a very fortunate household, and I went to school, got good grades, and I had a fun and exciting life, in college. And that was different every day. I was in constant state of growth with very little responsibilities, but we all have to graduate at some point. So I got my first job out of the school and was super excited to get into the workforce. I continued to learn, but much slower pace than I was at school. Every day was the exact same. I'd wake up, I'd drive to work, go home, make dinner, watch some TV, go to sleep, and then repeat. And I didn't really feel like I was going anywhere. And I remember asking my dad, like, is this what the rest of my life is going to be like? Every single day being the exact same, only looking forward to Friday and hating Mondays. So I kind of got myself together, and after that call, my dad gave me the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. After reading that, kind of a light went on, and I was like, I have to escape the rat race. My life cannot be just one thing, my job. So I started investigating how to escape the workforce. And not because I hated my job, it was because I wanted some excitement, some growth, some freedom. And I stumbled upon the financial independence, retire early movement, only because I wanted freedom. I wanted to do what I wanted, when I wanted, so that I could complete my life balance. So I started learning everything I could about personal finance, about health, personal health. I learned about relationships, and I rationalized all this thinking because if I wanted to be free, I would need, money and health and all the other things that come with that. So I thought, okay, what's the best way to do this? And it's the slow and boring way, staying consistent over long periods of time to allow compound interest, not only in money, but in habits to work their magic. So what do I do while I wait? And I was kind of like, okay, so I have this plan and I'm ready to go. But then I went back to work and it was another day. And then life-altering realization happened to me, and like back to back. 2 coworkers died unexpectedly at their desks within a couple of months of each other.
What?
Yeah, it was kind of like, all right, I have to make a change because this is not what I wanted to do. It was pretty scary.
That's so wow. That's unique.
Right. And I had talked to them the day of or the day before. Like I had, was trying to learn something from them, always trying to grow. I always say, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. Maybe that's just me trying to always push forward, but I was always trying to learn from them. And then, one died at his desk, the other one died in his sleep that night. And that's when I was like, I have to figure out a way to live a whole rich life. My job is important. I want to do good by myself and financially, but I needed a whole life around it. I did not want to die at my desk. So I became a big proponent of myself, setting goals. I try to journal every day to transform myself in health and in finance. And so that's kind of where that led me to discovery of professional relationships, physical, mental, spiritual, financial. And I try to work on all areas of my life with that. And then, as I go through life, I've been recording different quotes on my phone that make an impact on me. They can be serious, they can be funny, or something revolving around self-improvement. But I've always been drawn towards quotes. So I started writing them down and using that as an outlet to express myself I continue to write about these quotes that impact me and how I can, share that with others. So that's kind of my backstory about how I really tried to make a change in my life based off of those significant events that happened to me.
Yeah, I would say so. Can I ask, how old were you when this happened? Like when you had that experience?
I was 25, 26.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was tough.
That's a significant emotional event, right? That's definitely something that's like, hey, this is on my mind, but now it's in my face. And there is a difference, don't you think? There's something called mortality motivation. And very few people are kind of aware of this philosophy or this concept. But when we finally become aware that we don't live forever, we all of a sudden sometimes have this sense of urgency. And you'll see that with people that are aging. You'll see that with people with sudden illness. And you'll see that with people that have had close calls, is all of a sudden it's kind of like, oh my God, life might actually be short. I have so much to do. I need to get started now. And I'm feeling that from you a little bit, where it was like, wait a minute, like that could actually
That is
happen.
exactly it.
That might happen. And now my sense of urgency went from I'm thinking about it to I have to take action.
Yeah, that is exactly it. That happened, and I didn't know how to react. I hadn't really been that close to death before. Thank goodness. I've been very lucky in that respect. But when that happened, I didn't know how to react. I just kind of like, okay. And then over time, it kind of set in, and I said, I need to do something about it. I had an hour commute each way to work. I was sitting in traffic. I was, sitting at my desk. I was, such a sedentary lifestyle that I wasn't healthy. I would, go home and I was 25. I'd try to, go out with my friends and stay up too late. And it wasn't a healthy lifestyle. It wasn't a lifestyle that would lead to long-term sustained growth. And that's what the wake-up call was.
Yeah. So you got the wake-up call at the ripe age of 25. Which, if you ask me, it's a bit on the premature side. There's a reason they call it a midlife crisis, because that's actually typically what people experience right in that midlife point of like, I'm not getting any younger. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not happy. All the things that they promised about the white picket fence and working hard aren't true. What am I going to do? Right. And then it's like this drastic thing happens. And people are like, oh my God, what happened to Bob? And so this happened to you at this ripe young age. And so kind of tell me now, like how that's evolved, so you had this happen, all this stuff's going on, and then you took action on some level. What did you do?
Yeah, I definitely did. I reassessed my whole life, and it was all about time, because at that point I wasn't focused on money anymore. I was focused on time. How can I buy back time? And maybe it is through money, but it was all with the focus of getting back my time, because time is short, life is short. So I shortened my hour commute to, in in my city, we have a public transportation, a train. And so I found a job closer to home where I could take the train to work, and therefore I could read. And that was invigorating. I would stand on the train and read. So that was killing the two birds of, at least some physical activity and some enriching of my mental capacity there. And I started to really focus on who I spend time with the most, and are they adding value or taking value away from me? And it's not a selfish aspect of like, I only want to be with people that can make me better kind of thing, but it's be with people that make me feel good. And they make me feel good by being happy, not being negative, by being inquisitive. I'm an engineer, so I like to play devil's advocate all the time and have great discussions. And so I want to be with people that like to do that as well. I like to keep my personal finances in check. So I don't want to be with people that always want to go to the most expensive restaurants and buy the most expensive things. So I surrounded myself with people that would make my life better. And sometimes that meant, letting some friends go, or not being as close with them, but still talking with them. But that was the biggest step in the two areas of time and mental health that would allow me to build up my life better. And then finally, it was about habits and goal setting around making habits better and last longer. And I think that's the best thing for long-term health and long-term richness is great long-term habits.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable information, especially at kind of such a young age. I can't really imagine how you're going to be impacted that throughout your lifetime. A lot of us don't figure that out until we're much older. And then we're kind of like, that's a little bit harder to change now than I expected. So, you kind of start this off with, I want to be rich in all areas of my life, which I just think that's a beautiful way to put it. So when you're saying, okay, maybe it's time to take an inventory, and maybe that's something we can kind of suggest to our listeners, is looking at those 7 different areas of life, taking an inventory of, am I happy? Am I healthy? Am I thriving? And, I like the practice of giving yourself a score, from 1 being terrible to 10 being great. So let's say I'm all 5s, then kind of looking at, where do I want to be? And, because the new year's coming up and it's a really great time to set goals. These might be really nice ways to kind of calibrate and start, right? So we have the maybe 1-month goal, 3-month goal, 1-year goal, 5-year goal. And by the 5-year goal, we may say things like, okay, I want to be 9s in all areas. But if I'm a 2 in one area, 5 in another, or I'm all over the map, it might take me a little bit of time, and that's okay too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a straight path, and that's life. Life is ups and downs, but the downs are where you learn the most about yourself, and then it'll propel you up to the top of the next hill. And so if we kind of look through those 7 areas that you talked about, I like to group them into external, internal, and then financial is the last one. But if we do the external aspects of the 7 areas of a rich life, we have professional lives and then family and friends. And those are, I kind of group them as external because they're external to your physical body versus your physical, your mental, and your spiritual health. And so if we talk about professional, family, and friends, what are some ways that you can increase your life to make that more rich? And in the professional world, it's obviously getting certifications, continuing education, but a lot of it is not the intellectual knowledge side. It is being likable. Incredible how much being likable affects your growth in your professional world. It is being a hard worker. Hard work takes no skill. and that is one of my favorite quotes, is you can work hard without being smart and still go very, very far. Networking, getting to know people and building up your social skills in the professional world can take you far, because mentorships and when people have new jobs that are really or new projects that are really exciting, that they're going to think about you if you've been networking and you've been talking up yourself. So those are a couple areas for the professional life that can really boost your career. And then we can go to the family and friends. I like to tie those together because those are both interpersonal relationships. Family are people that are blood related, but you're still talking with them, and friends are your like-minded people that you should choose to spend time with. It's all about communication there, and relationships are not 50-50. In my opinion, they're not 50-50. They have to be 100-100, and that's where you're giving everything and you're expecting everything in return. Otherwise, it's going to be a strained relationship. That it has to be a two-way street in some aspects. Sometimes it can be 125-75, but at some point, I think it needs to be adding up to 200 and not 100, because you have to be willing to give everything, especially for your spouse. And that's that could be hard for some people, because and sometimes too giving of a person, and I don't ask for help in return. And if you're like me, you're not giving those people in your life a chance to give to you and show that they are in this relationship 100%. So that can be something that you can focus on in the new year, is asking for help, not for you, but to allow them to be a part of your life and give to the relationship.
Yeah, I love that you've actually highlighted that it's not 50-50. Because if you're only bringing 50, you probably suck. So really, really bringing it, like bringing your heart and soul, bringing the whole thing. And I think that's pretty rad to look at it that way. And especially when it comes to our loved ones and the people that are important in our lives, right? That are helping us and loving us and doing all the things for us. That's a huge thing that can't really be denied or looked to easily over. So having this kind of expectation that I'm going to give 100%, knowing that 100% sometimes looks different every day based on all sorts of different external factors. What would you say for the financial aspect? Like how can people kind of get better there? So I get the relationship, the human relationship, the ones you care about, the networking, putting yourself out there, building those bonds that can really kind of pay off throughout your lifetime, not only in friendship and mentorship, but also in business and professional standing. How do people kind of achieve this, or at least go about the balance in their financial life?
Well, in the financial world and in your personal financial life, it's all about having knowledge of your income and your expenses. Similar to, if you want to lose weight, you got to track your calories in, you got to track your calories out. It's very similar in the money aspect, and no one likes to do it. I did not like to do it, but it was so relieving to know what money I had coming in and what was going out. So I made a spreadsheet. I'm an engineer. I do like spreadsheets. Some people don't. It's okay. There are plenty of different apps and websites that you can go to that'll help you with all of that. But having that knowledge is super powerful. And I would say that is the basic thing, is just having that knowledge. You don't have to change anything, but if you know that you have, 1,000 coming in a month and you're spending 700, then you're at a $300 buffer. And that is great knowledge. Then from there, you can work on savings goals. If I'm trying to save up for, a new set of golf clubs, or a new car, or a new house, or a vacation, or what, you can start saving, setting those goals. And then when do you want to take that vacation? I hear, Nevada is great in the winter time versus the summer time. So I want to make sure I have enough money to go to Nevada during that time frame. It's it's the winter, so maybe I'm saving up for next year. And that way, I can set my savings goals per month to have enough money to make sure I can get to that vacation. And then there's, much more advanced ways to do personal finance, but it comes down to savings, it comes down to budgeting, and then from there it's debt. Trying to get rid of as much debt as you can. Bad debt versus good debt. There are all these different things. I'm throwing out a lot here, but it kind of boils down to, what you're bringing in, what you're spending, what's going out, and the difference. And those three things, if you just can get a grasp on that can really open up your mind about what is possible in your financial life.
I like that. You said something a little bit earlier about, I want to surround myself with people that make me feel good. And I know I can talk personally from this past year and a half of, we don't know what this was, and really say that, there was a lot of loss, but not necessarily through death, but through choice. And that's not always an easy path, but it is an important one. I was wondering if maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on making better choices with who you're surrounding yourself with and how that ultimately impacts your success.
Yeah, there's a saying that you're an average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And when we were going into work, you were spending the most time with your coworkers. And if they were negative or positive or optimistic, that rubbed off on you. There are a lot of relationships that are lost that we don't even realize. I remember reading an article the other day about the relationships that you have with the office building, the front desk person. You would see them 5 days a week for, X number of years, however long you've been going to the office. And you would say hi. You maybe not even know their name, but they were a part of your life. They smiled and welcomed you, or they didn't, and that rubbed off on you. And that loss can be impactful for not only you, but for them as well. And those are the types of relationships that this pandemic is having an effect on. And it's really tough for a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it really can be. And that's an interesting perspective on, relationship. And that tends to be something that kind of comes up over and over and over. It's like, where's all those people I used to know? Or even your social groups who you were hanging out with and different things like that. And they don't really exist anymore. Or there's a million and one different kind of examples of this. So living a rich life from your perspective is striving in every area, being flexible, knowing that you're probably not going to hit 100%, like you said, and that balance is a really nice philosophy, but sometimes it can feel unachievable. But what I'm really kind of gathering from this conversation is, if you're striving, if you're working on it, if you're continually trying to grow in every area, your life will become richer no matter what, right? Whether you necessarily hit the target goal or not, you will reap the benefits. So maybe you can kind of share with me kind of where you are now. So you had that experience at work. It propelled you into this crazy growth cycle where it was like, wow, it's in my face. I have a sense of urgency. I have this, mortality motivation. So where's the journey led you?
I'm still on the journey, but I have definitely experienced a big growth, and it came in all different areas. I realized that I needed to cultivate friendships that were two-way streets. So I made an effort to schedule calls, because sometimes I couldn't see my friends because of the pandemic, or they're living in a different city, but regular calls. And it sounds weird, but I have a call scheduled with my best friends every month on a Sunday afternoon, and we just talk for 30 minutes, and it's about anything or everything. Sometimes it gets changed or rescheduled, but the important thing is to really keep those relationships going. So I'm doing that. I've in my professional world, I've switched jobs again to be even closer to home. Now I can bike 15 minutes to work, so I'm hitting the physical and the professional all in one there. And my mental and spiritual, I'm reading more. I'm being more creative. I'm writing. I grew up as an engineer. I loved math. I hated reading and writing. And what am I doing now? I'm reading as much as I can, and I'm writing because it is a creative outlet for me. And I got married during the pandemic, which was stressful, but it happened. And so I'm growing my family life with my parents and my brother, as well as my new wife. And that's been great as well. All of these things happened because I set goals for myself. And I'm learning more and more about the best ways to set goals for me. And I know you said earlier, this is coming to the New Year's resolution time, and we all like to set goals during this time. I really think that the best way to do that is to reflect on the past year, on where am I on the 1 through 10 scale on these 7 different categories. It can be 8 categories, it could be 5 categories, whatever you feel is it's all personal for you. And then from there, you can say, okay, what do I want to do differently? And one of the books that I read, Atomic Habits, which is a great book all about habits, for me, it works well to create goals around habits. So instead of a threshold goal of I want to read 12 books a year, 1 book a month, that's what my goal is. And if I hit 11, I failed. And that's how I thought. So that didn't work for me. I wanted to make a goal around, I want to become a reader. And that was, I want to read 10 minutes a day. And it doesn't matter how many pages I read or how many books I read. It's just, I want to create a habit of reading 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And that would make me become a reader. And then because of that, I would read a lot of books. That's just one example of, the best ways that worked for me to make goals. And that, cascaded and compounded across all the different areas of my life. So some people works well for threshold goals, and some of them, it works well for, creating goals around habits.
Awesome. Yeah. I always like to hear kind of like the full circle wrap around and kind of what you're doing with your own philosophy, right? And it sounds like it's really making a positive impact on your life. And congratulations on your new marriage. How exciting.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and even better, we're trying to make goals together, and that can be stressful and difficult, but I have learned more in those conversations about my wife than I have in the entire time I've known her, because we really try to think about what we want personally and what we want together, and it can open up, new lines of communication. So it's been really, really fun and exciting to continue to learn and grow, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for all of us.
Oh, me too. So Dan, if our listeners want to know more, or, if they're curious and they want to reach out, how could they find you or get a hold of you?
Sure. Yeah, I have a blog that I write on. It's called RichLifeHabits.com. You can find me there. You can shoot me an email at dan@RichLifeHabits.com. I'm also on Twitter at RichLifeHabits. And I usually check those at least once a day. So I look forward to hearing from you. Please reach out if you have any comments, questions, or you just want to chat. I'm always open to it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show today and sharing all this like knowledge and wisdom and this kind of path, a way to kind of center those thoughts and organize them in a way that works for you and helps you create that trajectory of change. So thank you so much for doing that. And for sharing, everything that you've picked up from your own life experience and your studies. I think that's pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Of course. This has been Humanity Meets Business, Business Therapy with Christine Salvo, licensed marriage and family therapist, advanced certified mediator, and master practitioner of NLP and hypnosis. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day. Good morning, everyone. This is Humanity Meets Business, Business Therapy with Christine Salvo.